Hey, good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. Can you believe Monday all over again? Well, it is October the 2nd as we start today at 61. Now, don't worry. Mother Nature's going to take this from one extreme to the next. It'll be 89 before you know it. Warm day, but hold off. It's going to feel like fall by the weekend. We will see a high, I think, about 75 on Saturday. So temperatures are going to change abruptly toward the weekend. Won't it be nice? As we said many, many times, that is almost the perfect weather. That's coming this weekend. We'll have details on that and have your forecast so you can see what all is in store for you as we begin. Don't forget the school bond issue. We'll vote tomorrow. We will post again today all the locations of where you can go to cast your ballot tomorrow. It's very important. We don't want low voter turnout. I'm afraid that that's what will happen, but please go vote. Whether you're for it or against it, it doesn't matter. Make sure to cast your ballot so that your word is known. And it's not just a sample of Lauderdale Countyans voting and determining how taxes are done. It's very important. Make sure to vote tomorrow afternoon. Well, it starts tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. until 7 p.m., regular hours, and it will be at schools. We'll tell you all about that up and coming this morning. We had a big weekend. We got so much to talk about beginning at 7 o'clock on the morning show. Odie is prepared. He's going over his notes of what he knows and what's happened. I hope you'll join us for that show. We're going to go over headlines from around the nation, things that are shaping America this morning. That's next. Right now, let's get something that is good. Let's go out to Collinsville First Baptist.
Do you love a good mystery? I do. You know, Sherlock Holmes, the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, Hercule Poirot, Miss Marple, all the classic mystery characters that people have so loved over the years. Oh, and who can forget the Mystery Incorporated crew from Scooby-Doo? I mean, that's good stuff. As we turn to Romans 11, Apostle Paul addresses a mystery. Perhaps it's a mystery that you've wondered about yourself. How come, since Jesus is the long-awaited Jewish Messiah Christ, there aren't more Jews who are saved? I mean, some are, but the vast majority of Jews reject Jesus to this day. I mean, in fact, right now in the nation of Israel, it's basically illegal to share the good news of Jesus. There are people who've been given the prophets and all the promises, yet why aren't more Jews saved today? Well, by the Holy Spirit, Apostle Paul reveals the answer to this mystery in Romans 11, 25, 26, saying, I don't want you to be unaware of this mystery, brothers. A partial hardening has come upon Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles has come in, and in this way all Israel will be saved. Now, what that means is that God in His sovereignty, having mercy on whom He'll have mercy, and compassion on whom He'll have compassion, and hardening whom He will harden, has placed a partial hardening on Jewish people right now, while He's focused on saving Gentile people. Some Jews are being saved as well, of course, but not many proportionally speaking. But here's the good news. Once the fullness of the Gentiles is saved, God will remove that partial hardening, and there will be a huge infilling of Jewish people coming to faith in Jesus Christ at the end of the age before Christ returns. In fact, Israel itself very well might become a Christian nation. Wouldn't that be amazing? Now, why in the world has God done it this way? I don't know. I just know that God's ways are not man's ways, and that God's wisdom is greater than man's wisdom. And so I trust Him. Do you? Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. See areas all over up and at 'em today. Philadelphia, Newton County, Conahatta joining us, Philadelphia. So many of you. So glad to see y'all. Causeyville. Jerome Lee, good morning. Good to see you as well there. As we said, 61 as we begin this day. As we glance around to see what's going on nationwide, Gavin Newsom, he would be the governor of California, has replaced Dianne Feinstein. He's going to be announcing a lady that worked for the Obamas in the administration. She is going to be the replacement there, and I'm trying to think of her name here. She's a Democrat strategist and activist. She worked for Kamala Harris. My mistake on that when she ran for president.
Very pro-abortion.
Yeah, very pro-abortionist. And I'm going to pronounce her name right. Lafina Butler. Laphon. If it come off of that, Onza Butler is her name. So she's going to be filling that spot. Of course, there'll be an election later, but that is what's happening with that. Very, very. We'll see what goes on with that. Bay Area. This is just, as we talk each and every day of what happens across America and the crime in these cities to where they've defunded the police and the police can't do the job. And even if they could do their job, the lawmakers no longer back the police. That has happened. As you remember, the marches and on and on and on to where they cut funding to police departments to where they barely can hang on. They do good to write a traffic stop these days, much less counter crime. And this comes from, this is going to be in the Bay Area as we go here. Out in California, as we look at this, as they broke into a store, took lighter fluid and threw on a store owner, lit them on fire. They're second-degree burns. And, well, I don't need to show that. I was going to show that, but it gets graphic of what they did to the store clerk. Trying to make a living. Set them on fire. They're bandaged in a burn center now. It just goes on and on. Oakland, California. It's one thing after another there. I hate to even see or even talk about things that happen like that, but it is true. Anybody else hooked on all of this? The Egyptian pyramids, the seventh wonder of the world. Every time they do a show, I'm hooked. They have discovered a new corridor in it that I guess traveled around. X-rays have zoomed in on this. Maybe this is how the last person out that sealed the tomb would get out of it. Either that or they stayed there with them. I'm not sure which it is. Where does it lead? I'm not sure, but they have uncovered a new corridor. That's just neat as all get out.
Yes, it is.
Can you imagine? That is some kind of history there. I always like doing that. I watched something the other night where they unearthed another mummy. There's a lot of secrets in there. I was talking with Odie about this. Whenever you're involved in an accident and you come up and you see a tanker, an 18-wheeler that's carrying some type of chemical, always pay close attention. And Odie will have to pronounce this, but they were hauling a load that is made to make ammonia. It had an ingredient to make ammonia in it. Killed 5 people immediately just by intaking the smell of it. And of course, you can hear the attorneys sniffing at this quickly. Couldn't be helped when the tanker was punctured that got out. Killed 5 people immediately. And the word to wise of all this is anytime that you're in an accident and you see something like that, take cover, get away from it. Don't walk up on it. Make sure you see what you're doing. As emergency responders do that, if they come to a scene and they see multiple people knocked out on the ground, they would not step into that without wearing masks. Get away from it if you can. As we see here, this is probably underestimated. This year alone, this country, I'm afraid, will implode within one day. Do you know what the number that they're guessing? And this is a huge guess of illegal people who have crossed the border so far right now. And this is a guess. 2 million is the guess of what has come into this country illegally. That's a lot of people on our soil that aren't citizens, not to mention what's already here. It's not good. Can you imagine Texas, Arizona, those areas there of how it is to live? It's getting bad, and it was all stunts, and I think we all know that, to get votes in the beginning. It's turning out bad, just like defunding the police. We need some law. Wait a minute, we do have laws. We just don't enforce them. Donald Trump, in a Iowa speech, says, wait a minute, folks. I'm going to allow gasoline engines in cars if I'm reelected. He's going to fight for that. And he's going to outlaw anybody operating on a child changing sexes. Doesn't agree with it. And I think the majority of Americans still believe that. There's a certain group that doesn't, and we all know that. But he's going to put back gas engines and, well, not being able to operate on children who have not yet made up their mind of what's going on in life or even know what life's about. I think that would be a good thing, and I think most Americans do agree with that. What's going to happen? Kevin McCarthy, he's got issues. Has Matt, you pronounce his, how do you pronounce that? Matt Gaetz? Matt Gaetz. He's going to lead the charge today to have him removed. We'll see what becomes of that. We'll be right back as we get this day started for you. Don't rush off. We'll get that forecast for you. The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Welcome back as we check our record highs and our record lows. Back in 19, it was 102 on today. The cooler side of things, 1984, it was 36 degrees. Brr. As we look at this, sunshine is expected today, high around 89 to 90, depending upon where you are, Philadelphia, Meridian. It could vary that 1 degree there. By the time we get to Eupor and back over toward the Mississippi Delta, it will be warmer. We're expecting 93 to 94 in these areas, and down around Hattiesburg about 91. East, we go into Demopolis, Alabama, there at the river, 88 today, 89 around Tuscaloosa, and cooler at Birmingham. 85 is what we're expecting in Birmingham today. Montgomery should get down to around 89, so it's pretty much a due east straight across there, about the same temperature. Auburn, well, it looks like the War Eagles will celebrate 86 today. Now, we're not over this yet. This wildfire danger is still a threat. We've had so little bit of rain. We can't burn. I know that things are piled up. There'll be a time for it later. It's just not yet. Don't burn. This will go all the way through Wednesday, this threat that we have. Now, the burn ban will not be listed then either. Lifted. As we look at this cool front that's coming. As I mentioned, that by the weekend we'll be into the 70s. Isn't that nice? Cooler weather in store for us. As we glance here, today 88 for the high, tomorrow about 90. 0% chance of rain up until Friday afternoon when we get a 20% chance, and we all know that that's not much. That's just a smidgen at 83. Saturday, we're looking at 79. Sunday says 75. So we're into the 70s for the weekend. As we go another week into this, look at this. Monday the 9th, 77, and we're going to hover in between 79 on the 10th and some 80 degree to 79 degree weather all the way through the 16th. It's going to be, as we say many times, and you've heard me, perfect near weather. Our biggest chance of rain will roll in on the 12th of October. We have almost a 40% chance. Maybe we'll get a little bit there. As we look at what's happening here across, as we go to the tropics today, what's going on there? We got a tropical depression. Rihanna has dropped down to 29 miles an hour. Millibar is at 1010. A tropical storm remains for Philippi as 52 mile an hour winds and 998 millibars as it moves to the east there. Not a threat to the coastline at all. What's the best times to fish today? Well, it looks like it's going to be somewhere around, let's see, this afternoon, around 3:30 to 5:30 will be your best time. Otherwise, it was early this morning for daylight. But you'll have a chance this afternoon. The wind's going to be light northeast wind, becoming east 5 to 10 in the morning, and winds should gust to about 20 miles an hour. Not too bad at all. Now, as we look at the deer hunting side of things, we show that kind of following the same thing. We got a good time this afternoon from 2:45 until 4:45. Similar to the fishing, but it looks like that deer season will hit about 2:30 till 5 o'clock is what we'll call it. The second amount of time is this morning around 8:30 to 9:30 if you get a chance to be in the woods there. Same wind there. Winds are going to be gusty if you're up in a tree at 20 miles an hour is what we're expecting. Now let's go over and take a look at what's going on with radar this morning. We hadn't glanced at that. As we pull this up, it looks to be all clear this morning as we hit the radar button there. Over in Louisiana, that's a fire watch as we go here. Fire weather warning. That's the only thing we're picking up on radar in Mississippi and Alabama, in Louisiana. As we go to Chattanooga area there in Tennessee, look at the fog there. Northern Georgia into the Carolinas, we got a bunch there if you're going to be up near Bowling Green, Buckley, Charleston, West Virginia. Look at this. It is a bunch of fog in those areas, so be careful in there. Otherwise, no rain. We do show some rain out in Colorado Springs, those areas there, but nothing to the Southland, is it? No, it's not. So that's what we've got this morning so far. We'll keep you updated with what's going on with that. We'll be right back with a closer look here as we get this day going. Hope you're having a wonderful day. The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group.
Welcome back. And as I looked across headlines this morning of something that made me smile, let's show the picture on Odie over here this morning. Where's the button here to pick up Odie? Right there. There he is right there. It says that half of all women end up influencing their men. Now, y'all all have been married now, what, 2 years? A year and a half?
3.
3?
No.
He doesn't know. He has no clue. He's deer in the headlight how long he's been married.
2 years.
He's going with 2 years. Alex Trevette.
2 years, my final answer.
His final answer is 2 years. But they say after a woman gets hold of a man, well, their clothes start to change. I guess that's true to some extent because before I got married, everything I wore was a solid color. I would not wear, this is what I call influence. Because she gets my shirts now. But I'm a just one color type shirt guy. And she'll get me orange and multicolored stuff, and I don't know what I look like. I would wear a tan shirt every day of my life if I could get away with it. That's all I want in life. But she puts it on me. But that does happen to a lot of people. And sometimes they start wearing, thank goodness Odie is not wearing a sweater wrapped around his neck and tied.
Yeah, we wouldn't.
With a tennis racket. We would be really worried about what was happening. Me too. We'll be back in just a few moments, in less than 10 minutes, to fire off the morning show. We're going to fill you in of everything that's gone on over the weekend. I certainly hope you'll join us to find out who, what, and when. It all happens here across the state of Mississippi. We'll fill you in on all the details. Thanks for watching. We'll be back soon with the Scotty Ray Report.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners.